Here we go. What the? Oh, hell no. That's not what I need. It's kind of cool, though. Chat. You can actually have web browser stuff in there. It's pretty cool. Anyways. So I had a bit of a whoopsie daisy there. Okay. Let me go ahead and post about us. Come on. There we go. That's the second screen, actually. This is the first one. Let me try something on here. Okay. I think I can make this work. Maybe. Well, it's finicky. Doesn't quite sit right. But it kind of works. Ah, for God's sakes. This fucking thing. This problem can actually be fixed with like a little bit of hot glue. And I'm all out of focus here. God damn it. Motherfucker. swear to fucking God. Okay, here we go. I just need some hot glue. And it's a little blurry, but it'll do. That'll do just fine. Well, Southpaw, nice of you to show around these parts. It seems like we have a weird relationship going on. You'll come to my streams and, you know, we'll talk, discuss, and then you'll start saying something stupid, and I put you into timeout. And then you get all butthurt and stop coming for like a month, and then you come back because you want more. Because nobody else wants to be friends with you. I'm the closest thing to a friend you'll ever have. Oh, man. Okay, what kind of a... What? You just start saying stupid stuff. Shit's gonna happen. Okay, so continuing off other half of these levels. Technically, I'm not even done with this one. I still gotta put some foliage here. So it makes these levels pop. It's foliage. No, not really. You've said some annoying things, but eh. It's up to my discretion. Foliage. Foliage. Decorations. Foliage. Good. Man, I wish I could make these icons bigger without like making the text bigger. In fact, I think there's a way. Maybe. Preferences. Resource tree. Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's got it. Can only zoom in on all of them, which is useless. Thanksgiving was alright. We don't really go all out on Thanksgiving. We just have, you know, regular family dinner. Nothing too fancy. What major advancement? Well, pretty much made a whole bunch of tools for making level building easier. This level entirely. Yeah, let me put this in. Compile. I've been, for the past week and a half, or for the past 2 weeks, I've been stuck in this perpetual creation of tools and, you know, things that make the level creation easier without actually making any levels. So it's like I made progress without making any progress. So I've made bunch of stuff basically. Made a few new assets. I'm gonna have to make way more. I made a resolution changing system, flipped my lighting system to only use one surface, so now it's efficient and fast. And, you know, added some dangling cables that you can interact with. You know, added some pseudo 3D stuff like that pillar. Oh, whoopsie. So I'm basically back at making levels. Not making, but decorating the ones and polishing the ones that I've already made. I should really make another particle thing spawn when the player's landing. Even like one when the player's walking. Like a tiny one. Oh, come on. Yeah, there's a asset on Yo-Yo Marketplace. It's called rope physics fast, and it doesn't use the actual physics engine to do it. And I just had to dick around with the code so that dynamic objects would actually be able to interact with those. Because right now it only interacts with static objects, so you know, floors, tiles, all that bullshit, etc., etc. I made some particles, some interactive particles too. What the fuck? Like this. These are particles that are kind of bouncing off the surfaces. Yeah, the shadows is still handmade. I don't really want to be going into the quest of dynamic shadows. Django's doing that right now. So, you know, whatever. Plus, manual shadows allow me to create shadows that are a bit more artistic. And something like shadows don't always have to be exactly the shadows from points of origin. You can actually play around with this stuff, so at least that's the benefit in my case. The second level looks pretty dope. I don't think you were here when I was making it or decorating it. Slowly inching my way to being able to actually make these levels, or to being able to just work on the content and less about, you know, the underlying stuff. Oh. Oh god. This isn't my level either. Oh yeah, added a bunch of new particles. All of the good stuff. Fuck's sakes. The lighting looks really cool. Anyways. I don't know, man. Still kills me. I like this. You can like create custom assets without actually creating separate sprites. Just layer the shit on top. I gotta add more variations with these grass assets. More content to work with. The blue rectangle is the camera. It's more like a parameter change node. I can change like things like camera view size, and I'm also putting in things like increasing and decreasing of the of parameters like fog, particles, aerial perspective, brightness, that kind of stuff. It's a trigger box. So, I'm not sure if you saw it, so basically if the player enters the trigger, it will change the camera size, because this is like an ambient level, so I want to show off the background. So, now this level is starting to look more interesting with the foliage in it. Right, so there you go, camera's panning out. So now, I can actually showcase the giant background and the pillars and whatnot and all the good stuff. You want to add some depth, put some shit on top of other shit. The floating player shadow? What do you mean? Are you talking about the one that's in the sprite? There was still a shadow behind the player. Oh no, that's in a sprite. There's no actual second sprite being drawn as a shadow. It's actually in the pixels of the sprite. I'll have to play around with it, but for the most part it's there to kind of give the player contrast on the black background. So you could see the player basically. Okay, this should actually be on the layer below the player. Oh man. I'm gonna post this to the forum actually. Soho. I'm working on a 4-player co-op game. That's heavily narration driven, and I'm going through creation of basically all of my levels right now. Decorations, polish, or I'm going through the created levels with decorations and polish and putting in all the assets and whatnot. Basically, the fun creative stuff. Just posting something. I don't think my Twitch chat is working. God damn it. Actually, oh, there's actually somebody there. Elder Grome. I need to reboot my Twitch chat 1 second because it's not working. I'm just posting something to the forum, a suggestion for a feature. Here we go. Pop out the chat. Twitch chat should be working now. And yes. So let me just take a look at this. Oh man, I saw this indie short film. It's a cartoon called Missing Halloween. It popped up on one of my social media tabs. Pretty good project. Okay, not bad. I like this. Oh man, this scene is so much better now. I'm still gonna have to go through the assets, or go through the rooms and put some stuff in. I can't help but play with these cables every single time. Ooh, don't fall now. Yeah, this is a co-op game, so you can play with your friends. We're starting with local co-op, and then later on, you know, if this project works out, we're gonna go with online co-op. Just, you know, putting networking stuff. No physics. I've coded in my own gravity and movement and whatnot. Yeah, Southpaw, you tell him. Ah, man. Okay, so I'm just going around this place. Putting in my assets. Making the level look pretty. Actually, these two I want to be below the player. Lots of work, man. Lots of work that goes into this. I need to make more of these. That giant girder. Yeah. I know, it's like has such a menacing connotation in the background. So not only is it like huge, it's also in the parallax background, which makes it like even bigger. So, I mean, oh man, I made so many tools for basically creating these levels, making the process of creation of these levels easier. Like, my main task was essentially to minimize the amount of times I compile the game. That was kind of my main priority, so to speak, for this stuff. So, like, I can basically, I know, and it doesn't help with the fact that I was recently replaying the Half-Life series, so my like artistic inspiration could be definitely influenced by it. Yeah, the FNAF shader is definitely gonna stay. It's a part of the death screen. I might put in an option, like in the options menu, to adjust the amount. But I do like the tiny kind of screen bend effect that goes on. It makes the game look less flat. Right. So I made like a whole bunch of tools that allow me to like edit stuff. Like I made, for example, if I want that thing to like appear more, I can actually, you know, like tone down the aerial perspective values, right? I can move this thing around. Right? You know, move this thing around, fine tune it, all that kind of stuff. But for this part, I kind of want the background to be actually seen, like the actual background. So yeah, man, lots and lots of work that still has to be done. So much work. I got my dad to help me write the script for it. I don't think you were actually... Yeah, you weren't here when I said this. My dad is a scriptwriter, but he is not working in the scriptwriting field right now. So basically, the Canadian market is just way too small and way too competitive. So without, you know, connections, it's impossible. So basically, since he's not working in the field, he's helping me out with writing the script, because he's the one who can actually tell the story, like take a basic idea and tell the story well. So he'll be basically taking over the script writing part and the storytelling part, and he's gonna basically turn the story to something that's a bit more respectable and improve on the depth and this, you know, the dialogues, all the good stuff. I don't know. I didn't program in the undo stuff. It's, you know, that would be just over the top. Not really like the most necessary thing ever. This thing seems kind of empty. Oh, jeez. So basically, this is this is my life now. Gotta do all of this stuff. So I have come up with a bit of a deadline. Basically, I'm looking at trying to finish the first, like the demo and the early access stuff for until by Christmas. So it doesn't mean we're going to be actually releasing the game by Christmas. Christmas is usually, as someone has informed me, not a very indie game friendly time. A lot of AAA projects are publishing their stuff on Christmas. Plus the sale and, you know, the whatnot. So anyways. Symphonia. How's it going? Oh shit, nice. I definitely need to make more assets. Jesus, this level's turning into something pretty big. And I mean, once again, these are ambient levels, so they're supposed to be the eye candy levels, so to speak. Yep, made everything myself. Writing the music for it, programming, visual assets. I do wish I had the ability to hire somebody to take like a chunk of this work off of me, but unfortunately there's no budget for this game. It's just, you know, coming out of my pocket. Whatever tools, whatever, you know, program, software. For now, this is just all sponsored by me. Just like, you know, most of us indie developers. That's just how it is. A plight of our craft. Or a plague of our craft, I should say. There's a lot of people looking for serious project for free. You know, that statement could not be any more true, except for the free part. Oh, nice. Wait, did you actually put in the Citadel into your fucking game? Like, is that actually the asset from Half-Life? Benjamin Franklin has joined us on the stream. Symphonia's like, hire me. Yeah, with what money? If I can barely have enough to pay for my own bills and just keep me afloat at 0 point with my shitty part-time job. This is what I'm working for. I'm working for quitting that fucking job and doing this for a living. Actually, no. Get rid of that one. Like, I got into game development about 6 years ago when I started writing music 9 years ago. So I got into music first when I heard the soundtrack for the Hitman Codename 47. That was like an amazing soundtrack to me, right? And I got into like discovering music and how to write music and whatnot, right? So around like high school, like grade 11, grade 12, I was looking for projects to write music for, and I was giving like free music writing service, so to speak. And I kept getting nothing but fucking child games, right? Kids apps, like play with balloons, do all that bullshit. And I did a few of those, and it was nothing but kid apps, right? I understand if these were like paid projects, right? Because then, fuck it, you get paid for it. But no, these were free fucking projects. I can't put this shit onto my game or onto my resume. It's just, I don't want to go down that direction. If it was a paid project, then sure, fucking whatever. I'll make a fucking porn soundtrack, if it actually pays. But fuck, man, it's just at that point I think, fuck it, I'll make my own games and I'll write my own music for my own games. I literally just went like Bender style. I'll make my own games with blackjack and hookers. So, finding talent who wants to work on a serious project it's definitely out there. However, you have to like make sure that you stick to a project and you're actually capable of producing it. Because what I did is I worked with a lot of voice actors, who counted on me to create a game, and I was basically making overambitious games, the kind of games that take a team of at least maybe 10 people to make. Those kinds of projects, they're still on hold since like 5 years. I was planning big projects like 5 years ago when I just started making games, right? Because I thought writing the script is as hard as it's gonna get, right? I already knew how to do modeling, so I'm like, okay, I can do this stuff, this is not hard. But there's so much creative, so many creative decisions you have to make. It's just impossible to do it alone when you're working on a big project. And I had like 3D projects. Like in my head, I'm like AAA style, right? Like blockbuster, freaking Uncharted, level creation. And I'm not talking about like Uncharted 5 years ago. I'm talking about like Uncharted today. So I actually still I want this project to succeed so that I could finish those other projects and pay the people who have basically put their faith into the games that I just wasn't capable of producing at that point. So, this is basically what I'm going for. My top priority is to kind of help my dad get into the script writing scene via the games, because it's actually kind of difficult in Canada because it's just the market is oversaturated with shit, basically. Not even that. It's just generally oversaturated, and no, it's oversaturated with shit as well. It's just that the shitty writers have all the contacts because these are the contacts they got when they were in college, right? So, college, university, whatever. So, I'm not saying all of them are shit, but when we look at some of the Canadian productions, some of it is not all that great. Okay, 1 second. There's a lot of people look for serious projects for free. When did you learn the stuff like producing 3D in Game Maker? Or where did you learn the stuff? Does it come from things you learned in school? No. None of the stuff that I do here, except for the stuff that I learned in college, comes from school. But in college I only did 1 year of concept art, so it's really just the visual stuff that I can kind of handle on my own. Things like composition, focal points, you know, directing the player's eyes to certain areas, that kind of stuff. For the most part, all of this stuff I learned on my own. 3D, I've also studied on my own. Like, I had to figure out how to import 3D objects into Game Maker, basically by reading the documentation of like OBJ files, which is, you know, it's not an encrypted file, so it's pretty easy to make sense of what's what. As for someone who hasn't majored in computer science, I always feel like my skills are inadequate. It's honestly, when you start working on any project, you feel your skills are inadequate. It comes with time. Oh, Jesus. Southpaw, how come your game looks like it's a 4:3 aspect ratio? Okay. Now I actually can't wait to try this level out. Southpaw says you can translate my game for free. The question is, translate into what? Is it gonna be like translate the game into Greek, the place where people are fucking broke and they can't buy games? Man, the Greek recession is just, or crisis I should say, that's some scary shit. German, of course. Ah, I have people in the Germany. That made no sense. So, you know. I do all my testing in 5.4, used to love widescreen aspect ratios, but several years ago I got back into the full screen. Something about the square interface and limited perspective that I love. Yeah, it's probably nostalgia. I know you told me that you're German. I forget. It's very, like, I've been working at my current workplace for over a year now. I still don't know all the names of the fucking people that I talk to on a daily basis. I'm like I refer to people as like, hey, do you have like a code for this? I'm like, hey, can you like punch in the override and stuff? And I'm like, it's terrible. I'm so bad with names. So, you know, if I don't remember where people are from, it's, you know. It's just the way it is. I majored in... Nah, man. I went to college for a year. the college was supposed to be $40,000 for the entire program because it's a very specialized concept art animation college. So, like, if you actually graduate, you get hired just like that. Like, people got hired there, hired out of that college in year 3, right? And they would just come back for the last year afterwards. But like halfway, I kind of figured, shit, man. I made a huge mistake on that part. I essentially went for. There were 3 programs at the time. There was the sequentials, which is comic book illustration. There was animation, which is animation, and there was concept art. So originally, as per like advice of some of the teachers, and as per advice of like my parents, like I didn't even know what the fuck I wanted to do when I got out of college. Oh, when I like was in high school and I got out of high school. Fuck, man, I didn't know what the fuck I wanted to do like for the majority part of my high school life. I was just like, oh, going to high school, I guess I gotta do it. Just show up every day, fucking not knowing what I wanted to do. But at grade 11, 12, I started experimenting, with game development. So basically, fuck all I learned in high school. None of that shit was like ever useful to me. Like maybe now some math stuff, basic like functions and whatnot, which I could still fucking Google and know everything about. I didn't know what I wanted to do, and basically I just went through high school doing random fucking courses for no fucking reason. So essentially, my parents advised me that maybe I should go for animation, and we found this college that was a recommendation of one of my dad's acquaintances, and they said, okay, well, there's this college called Max the Mutt, and it's a private college. It's specifically catered towards animation. And you should go for animation because they know that I could draw. They know that I like to draw a lot. Like history, English class, math class, we had a Nazi teacher, so and I'm just talking metaphorically. So basically, any class that I could, I would usually draw. So they said, oh yeah, well, why don't you go for animation? I'm like, okay. So we went to college, to this college to see what their application is like. And, they just had, show us your portfolio, make up a drawing like of a landscape, drawing of a hand, maybe a drawing of, a basic compositional piece. So I did that, and they say, okay, yeah, that's you can apply. It looks like you have the base skills required to do this. So I was going to this college for about a year. And it was like, it was a really nice college, like a really nice college. The only problem is I made a mistake when we were doing the interview and we were looking at my portfolio. They had these booklets of what kind of art they or what kind of programs they had. So I'm looking through the first book that they gave me was the concept art book, right? So I opened this book and I immediately, they picked the best of the best content to show off in this booklet. So I'm seeing these like let me actually see if I can find Max the Mutt website. I can actually show you the stuff that I saw. Their portfolios are fucking amazing. So let's see. Come on. Okay, so programs, concept art, diploma. Right, okay, so show reel. Look, this is what I saw, right? And I'm like, fuck, man, I want to do this. I want to be able to do this. You know, I want to be able to draw this kind of stuff. And I said, like, I don't want to go in animation. I want to go into concept art, right? And like, that was kind of a mistake on my part, because all the stuff you can do, I used to have this reverse thinking that if I go to concept art, I could still do animation, because you still do like all of the underlying basic, not basic, but all the underlying courses are the same. Life drawing, so you have a model come in and you draw the model. There's different exercises, composition, color work, all of that stuff. They're all the same. Same teachers, same program. It's basically when you go to like year 3 and year 4 is when you start getting into more specialized courses, right? Now, I was thinking, okay, maybe if I go to concept art, since all the underlying courses are the same, I could still do animation, right? Look at that, Ubisoft, UB Gallery. So I'm not sure what that is. Could be just a competition, but look at this stuff. This is the shit that I wanted to do, right? It's amazing. Let's see some Half-Life inspired artwork. Yeah, dude. So I did about a year, and I decided to quit because I should have gone for animation. I decided to quit because it would have been a waste of a $40,000 thing. I mean, probably not a waste. I would probably still found a job that's in the field, but when it comes to my personal projects, animation would have benefited me way more than concept art. And this is actually the point where it's reversed now, where if I went for animation, I could have still done just fine concept art, because composition, color work, it's all the same, right? So, you know, now I'm here, hoping that I'll be able to return at some point. Return to college at some point and actually do the animation course, or finish the concept art course, or you know, whatever. I could have, but this was 5 years ago, so to be honest, like, the thing is, this was like the point where I still didn't really know what I wanted to do in life. So I'm extremely late on these kinds of decisions. They don't really click until it's too late, or until like a lot of time has passed. So I mean, if I had the money right now, I would go for animation. The only other drag about this entire thing is that I was basically doing like 12 hours a day. So I would get up at 6, like way more than 12 hours a day. I would get up at 6 so I could be at the bus station by 7, so I could be at the terminal station by 8, so I could be at the college by 9. So 9 o'clock till 9 o'clock was the college day. It was an extremely intense program. So compressed, you know, because you basically did in 4 years what you usually have to do in 6. And then 9 till 9, and then 10 o'clock, you know, back at the terminal station. 11 back at my bus station, and then the walk home. So, you know. Any tips on where to start? I don't know. Depends on your budget. Depends on what you want to do. It's like we have a lot of that college had a lot of immigrant students. So literally students from other countries who would sign up for that particular college specifically to attend that particular college. The most expensive private university near to study game development is like $6,000 a year. Yeah, but that's like game development, right? I'm not even sure what the fuck they teach you in game development. Because game development is comprised of, things like management, rigging, animation, texture work artists, concept artists, a lot of crossfits, well, not crossfits, but a lot of like crossing careers with film. Quite a lot. So anyways, when I get some money, I'll return to college and actually get myself a degree, but if for all I know, this project here is going to be my ticket. If it works out, if I make this project work. My right is here. My computer programming course was $6,000 for the whole year program. Yeah, once again, private college. They have a lot of shit to pay for. And all of their staff are hired staff from like veterans of Disney Pictures, Pixar, DreamWorks, all of the animators and background artists. They literally come in with their portfolios. It's just amazing piles of work, right? So $40,000 for the entire program? Fuck yeah, you're getting the best. And of course it's gonna be a 12-hour day, because it's basically the first hour and a half is the teaching part, and the second hour and a half is you actually doing the work with the teacher in front of you. You actually have access to your instructor at all times during that course. So yeah, you're definitely getting the best. Also, indie without money who has almost 3 years of experience in GML. Are you talking about me or yourself or what? Yeah, Benjamin trumps us all. It sucks, man. So for $40,000, it was just, yeah. I'll definitely come back if I get a chance, but I'll come back for a program that I know for sure I'm gonna actually stick around with. Okay, here we go. Let's try this. Right, there you go. You should study in Germany. Probably. How many, if you're just an English speaker, how can you survive in Germany? See, concept art, draw, animate, managing. So that is... It's good, but like how exactly hireable are you gonna be for a game studio where instead of like heavily concentrating on one aspect for you to become a master in, you kind of lightly touch on everything, right? I mean, how it will basically tell you how to make a game yourself, or at least how to manage a team who will make a game for you. But it will give you the insight. Like, it would definitely not be at all useless. It would give you an insight how each and every single part of a game development studio works, so that if you choose to create your own, you will actually have an understanding of how everything works, and you can actually guide the people to the right direction. But it's just, if you do a one heavily oriented art course, you will be hired. You'll be able to apply for the job, specifically in that field. Oh yeah. If I could pay 500 euros a month, I would study game development. Yeah, I mean, most of the game development is visual, so you could probably just go into like art, and I would probably, you know what, if I were to like pick my own courses, there's one thing that I really don't like about public colleges. It's the fact that on top of, on top of the art, and you still have to do math, you still have to do English, you still have to do bullshit like that, some social studies garbage, and it's just wasted money, right? This is why the private college will teach you exactly what you're going to learn, right? Like, why the fuck do I need to do another course in history or English when that has nothing to do with me being able to draw, the properly transfer the tones of what I see on paper? Fuck, man, wasted money. Public colleges are a piece of garbage. So, if I could pick subjects, if you want to do game development, I would definitely pick script writing, so creative writing. Properly writing your script, properly creating your characters, that stuff. Like, my dad is teaching me this stuff because he's a professional in that field. I would learn animation, and if you're looking for a complete program, then you learn animation as in like full animation, starting with the basics, training your hand, getting the colors done, and then I would also learn 3D, like proper 3D creation. The problem is that 3D, like if you go for a 3D course, it's very specific to the software you're using. Because 3D course for Maya will be totally different than 3D course for Max or 3D course for Blender. So, because 3D realistically is taking your knowledge about 2D and putting it in 3D form. So things like anatomy, things like perspective and color control. It's just these are just three-dimensional variations of what you know in 2D. If you don't know those things, 3D is not really going to help you much, because learning the tools is the easy part. Creating stuff properly is the hard part, and creating stuff properly comes from your background, your drawing background, right? So in that case, private colleges really help you, because they're very specialized. You get exactly what you pay for. Benjamin, yes, in Germany, studying is basically free. God damn. Colleges are free, private colleges cost a bit. Understandable. Really, I mean, shit, if colleges in Germany are free, then the money that you'd spend on college, you'd really just spend on living expenses. So the cost would really come up to still the same. Maybe, like, in the ballpark. But, there's still expenses that take place there. Our universities have tons of students from other countries because they want to study for free. That's pretty cool. Game development Germany is not just about managing, training you in coding, C++, Java. They train you in animating and drawing. That's pretty cool. So it's like an all-in-one type of thing. Really cool. But once again, living expenses. It gets pricey. I don't even get anything out of the program. I spent the 2 years working on my FPS rather than doing the given assignments. Which my computer program course, yeah. I was actually looking into computer science, but I'm talking like engineering. So creating circuit boards, because I had this really really strong interest in creating my own film hardware, like the Red Camera does. The team for the Red Camera created their own thing. There's actually an open source camera project out there already where you can order, like, you can download their circuits and order a circuit board to be printed, and then you either put your parts yourself or pay the additional cost to have them put parts in. But essentially you create you create an open source camera. So that's really cool. But I wanted to actually get into like engineering, and I looked at the programs that they had here, and they had like a little touch up on circuit board design, but most of this was like IT work, server management, corporate networking, all that bullshit. It's very little, for $10,000, very little to do with what I actually wanted to do, right? Most of those colleges, so it sucks. It really sucks, and I'd still have to do English, math, all that garbage. I'm not saying that English is math is garbage. It's just for me. Actually, I would probably be able to utilize a lot of the math in engineering, considering engineering involves physics, and physics is a heavily, like electronic physics, and physics is a very heavily math-based field. Wee. Pretty cool. Oh yeah, this level is now just popping with detail. Really cool. I love it. Nice. Yeah, that's the most fucked up part. You can't afford rent, even if you work minimum wage. It's fucking ridiculous. It's terrible, man. Absolutely. The minimum wage is going to be rising in Canada up to $15 an hour, so, I mean, you have a little bit of time there before inflation catches up, and everybody's like fucking dollar stores no longer carry dollar items. Yeah, it's just yeah, this is basically the guest controller here. Oh, terrible. Oh no. Alright, man. Thanks for dropping by. Yeah. But usually, see, it's times like these when you can't survive on just doing bare minimum. This is basically where great ideas rise, so to speak. So, you know, people start innovating, looking for new sources of income, coming up with basically new ways to survive. Alright, all aboard the field train. This is a really cool animated clip. Okay. That is not the right level. This is where I'm supposed to be. Okay. Should put in my light masks first. Light masks. Yes. Not gonna need the controller for a while. Actually, should probably adjust the background color for now. Just so that I could see the world. That's not true. At least I don't think it is. Um, you have to reduce your scope as an indie game developer if you are the only one creating a project, because it's very easy to create an overly ambitious project and lose scope of, you know, the actual process that goes into the creation of the game. So I'd have to agree with them, because I have stepped on this rake so many times. I would create this overly ambitious, huge project when I'm the only one who is actually working on the project, right? And then when it's time to actually create, every single time I do this, every single time this happens, when it's time to actually make the project, I get a big old dose of reality of just how much work goes into creating the models, animating, texturing, and it's not until you start actually working on the project that you realize just how much work goes into it. It's not to say that you shouldn't put your best foot forward. It's just that you kind of have to indeed come up with a project idea that is manageable to you on your own. It's a reoccurring problem in indie development, and everybody goes through it. They'll start a project, then when it actually comes time to the development, if the project is too big, you know, after doing a couple of weeks of just grinding, you know, putting all the time into the development, you kind of get an idea of just how much time you've already spent, how much you've achieved, and how much work there still is. And that's basically like that most of the time puts a big old nail into your project. So I have to agree with you. Have to reduce the scope of your project, but it doesn't mean that if you reduce the scope of your project, then you'll come up with a shitty game, or you'll come up with an average game. You know, that's up to you, to how well you're capable of coming up with ideas. Definitely not a good idea to just make an average game and hope for the best. There's a balance you have to find between the things you can do and things you cannot do. So there's actually a really good video that I keep in mind. Like I have this playlist of useful videos that I find on YouTube. Hey, Sex Official, how's it going? Um, and I'll post this on on Twitch chat as well, just for even sake. So there's a video there called "Being Poor and Having No Budget is Good for Making a Game." This video basically tells you how you can use your disadvantages and your inabilities to create certain aspects of your game, how to turn that into an advantage, right? And he has a lot of examples there. Really good video to watch, to kind of get an idea of how to be an indie game developer when you can't do everything. You haven't been training yourself to do anything and everything in your project by yourself. It's a really good video. Yeah, probably hundreds of them go online, but the thing about RPG Maker games is that these games are heavily reliant on good storytelling. So it's not the engine that is at fault, which I know you didn't say it's the engine, but it's the stories that are being told that are subpar, and that can't touch the player on the level that, you know, games like To the Moon did, games like Undertale did. And I don't think Undertale was actually made in RPG Maker, but it was made with the same connotation. You can totally make an RPG... maybe. I don't know how RPG Maker works, so I don't really know, but you could probably do it. It would probably be better to say RPG games in general, not RPG Maker games. Speaking of which, RPG Maker is on sale for $1 at Humble Bundle right now. So, you know, it's another engine. You can keep it on the side. You never know. For $1, fuck, man. Is RPG Maker really that old? RPG Maker 2003. That's old. But then I'm guessing Game Maker is also an old engine, realistically speaking. Oh man, do you guys remember FPS Creator? Oh god. What an atrocity. But then again, back when it came out, it was probably a pretty decent project. Excuse me. Where would a decade ago? When I discovered Game Maker. Yeah. Okay, I gotta fix that little tile there. It's a little finicky. What is this place? Oh, right. God damn it, there's so much more. Yeah. Somebody actually made a bunch of games. Like, some people have actually made some games that people could play in FPS Creator. Markiplier was playing one of them. It was actually, it had like an original game, and then it had like a remake. Both made in FPS Creator. So, I mean, it's a very convoluted engine, but if you could actually make something in it, that was just a commandment. You deserved standing ovation. The team who made FPS Creator came out with a new rendition of FPS Creator. They call it, first it was called FPS Creator Reloaded. Right now it's called Game Guru, because they figured rebranding would probably be a smart idea. And I was actually a backer for that project way back, because I was actually like, I started with FPS Creator when it comes to 3D stuff. And I had some projects that the projects that I talked about, I wanted to make those using FPS Creator, but at the same time I was waiting for this new engine to come out. So The new engine is out now. They're doing like remedial support for it, while they're also doing support for the app game kit, which is their like flagship engine, which is actually a pretty good engine. You can do some really nice stuff in it. But either way, you can kind of work in it. It's running on Lua language, so you know it's not a whole lot better than whatever language FPS creator was using. So yeah, you know, that was interesting. Jesus Christ, man. Check out my draw events. 2,585 vectors. Holy shit. Oh god. That's a lot. I'm feeling kinda hungry. Haven't had breakfast yet. Feeling like burgers. I'm always feeling like burgers. Like ass burgers. Get a new chair. It's that moment you walk into an old house. I can record some amazing sound effects with this chair. And also no budget for a new chair. Like honestly, I have such a huge bucket list of stuff that I need to upgrade here. Monitor is probably at the very top. Yeah, I know I can use it for way home. That's why I don't want to toss it out. Does Yo-Yo help for market game maker games? Seems like it would be a mutually beneficial situation. They do look out for games made with their engine, and if it's a really good game, they actually do help you market it. Right? It's not like a huge help, but every little bit helps, right? Like, don't expect you're gonna get free marketing, marketing without putting some money into it, for sure. But it is in their it is in their best interest to actually promote good-looking games made with their engine. Okay, I see a couple of vertices here that are kind of messed up. Gonna have to edit those. Also, I don't want to be going too much into here because there might be a chance that I have to expand this level just a little bit. New controllers? Maybe. I probably want to get a few like Xbox 360 controllers. I don't really need like Xbox One controllers that badly. Because I do have a bunch of controllers. Like, this is like a pretty, yeah, definitely. This is a pretty low budget development system. Like, I got some wireless Xbox controllers, which are actually for my Xbox. I've got some like Xbox One Rock Candy controller that doesn't fucking work on Windows 7 unless you install like a certain driver and a certain Windows update. And for the rest, I'm just using like PlayStation 3 DualShock controllers alongside with like the dongle that allows me to connect these suckers. So yeah, it's a pretty DIY system, but it works. And as I said, upgrades will come once the money comes, and even then, like I need to. The triangles rendering in the game were just used towards the surface generation. These are vertex buffers, so you know I'm using these for shadows, and I'm using these for these lights, light masks. Essentially, areas where I kind of need to not have the darkness show up. So you know, it's a work in progress. All of these nodes, though, I'm not loading them up in the core game. I can actually, they're going to be in the ini file, but I have a true-false boolean that I can actually set to tell GameMaker, or to tell the game not to load them up, because I don't need all of these like instances. If I turn this off, look at this, 12 draw calls for the like drawing shapes. 3,000 if this thing is actually showing up. So, you know, using vertex buffers is actually like really cost efficient. There's very few resources that actually get spent. Which is why, you know, when you're working on a game like this, it is really encouraged to try to do as much in the engine and as little in the like assets. So, you know, instead of basically making shadows in your textures, which means you have to basically make a huge texture, basically making a system like this would go a long way. Not to say that it's the most efficient system, but it works. It gets the job done, so to speak. Good thing about this is that I don't have to be too god-awfully precise. I can kind of go general shape, and then the rest will be filled up with light points. And I only realistically have to do this kind of stuff. I really only have to do with these ambient levels, because these are the ambient levels where I'm supposed to showcase the scale and the backgrounds and the parallax and the aerial perspective and all of this good, you know, all the eye candy stuff. So thankfully, I don't have to do a lot of this, and not every single ambient level is actually going to be taking place in an open area like this. So, you know, we're working on it. It's better than my old system, where I was actually using draw triangles in order to draw these triangles instead of vertex buffers. Okay, so right. So I can probably get away with big old thing here. Something like this. And that's basically that. Okay, so there's quite a lot of ways down. Are we down yet? Seems like it. And then I can snap these things. Useful. There we go. So that would be the light mask. I just gotta do a few other things up here. Like this entire thing. Not the most exciting part, but it's game development. Can't say it's not. See, there's a part right here that I also gotta put a mask on. Did Eddie Murphy ever do a cop movie? I feel like there's a cop movie with Eddie Murphy in it. Yeah. Fuck, what was the God damn it. What was the one where he hit a diamond in a building under construction? Diamond Cop? Oh, Beverly Hills Cop. Or was it Wilson? No. Was it Diamond Cop? A movie where he hid a diamond in a vent in a building under construction, and when he got arrested, he did his time. He got out and that was Martin Lower's Blue Streak. Okay, got it. Yeah, I haven't watched Beverly Hills Cop. Oh man. Remember Kindergarten Cop? Oh. There is no bathroom. Oh, that's fun. Really? You met Arnold Schwarzenegger. Add an indigo. Or was it a different Arnold? You didn't say which Arnold. You just kind of rolling with the conversation. Also, what the hell was Arnold doing in Canada? Hey, Jenko. Presentation on something. Cool. That was pretty cool. Wait, which Indigo? It's not by the Cineplex in Richmond Hill, is it? Because, I mean, considering you have a general idea of... Or you say you live, like, pretty close to me. Then, when you say, like, downtown Toronto, okay, makes sense. Like, why would Arnold visit the suburbs? Man. That's pretty cool, though. Fuck, there's a lot of these things in here. I gotta, like, do an average here. Just kinda... Just generally position these things. Right. Something like this. We also met Tommy Wiseau, Greg Sesterio playing The Room. Right. Got it. No idea who those people are, but okay. Oh, Jesus. You don't know The Room? No, I don't know The Room, okay? There's going to be people who will not know everything that you know. It's what is with this fucking assumption that I will know, or people around you know everything that you've ever watched, you've ever listened to? Fucking hell. It's just every time it's like, Janko knows this. He like sends me some generic rock track and is like, oh, this track is pretty good. And I listen to it and it's like, it's the most generic thing. It's like, I complain that it's the most generic thing. It's like, you don't know this band? How is it that you don't know this band? Sorry, Janko. It's just, I know you don't sound like that, but... The best worst movie ever. James Franco is doing a movie about the making of the movie where he plays Tommy. Okay, that sounds like... No, that sounds like... whatchamacallit? Fuck. Tropic Thunder? Is that what it's called? Yeah, it sounds like Tropic Thunder. Okay, fuck all this. I'm gonna, like... man. Okay, I'm gonna do the big ones. Never doing this again. This is torture. Okay, anything else I'm leaving out? Seems okay, seems alright. Yeah, the rest I can do with lights. Okay, beautiful. So, anything in here? Nah, oh, actually, yeah, here we go. Janko, there's people talking to you in the chat. Just in case he just has the audio on, but not actually looking at it. Okay, what else? That's it. Okay, so now I gotta save this thing. So I think it's P. Yep. How big is this file? 17 kilobytes. All of my light masks are 17 kilobytes. That's amazing. Okay, and I'm doing like 30 FPS, but if I disable it... Oh, well, okay, back up to 60. Breaking 100. Nice. Also, it would be even faster if I actually froze the buffer, which I still have to do. Okay, so let me do this. And I'm gonna pop it in here. Oh, these ambient levels take forever. There we go. Let's see. Okay, light mask buffer is good. I'm going to take a break because I need to get some food. I'm hungry. God awfully hungry. Gonna make some burgers, and I'll be back 45 minutes. Alright? Oh, jeez. Later.